The sky above the alien city was dark, filled with thick smoke and flashing lights. Explosions shook the ground and alarms screamed in every direction. The city that once glowed with beautiful crystals and tall towers now lay in ruins. Buildings were broken, streets were cracked, and everywhere there were signs of fear and panic. Alien soldiers ran through the streets, shouting orders and dragging the injured. The sound of distant blasts echoed, mixing with the cries of civilians. In the center of the chaos lay the alien queen. She was a majestic figure, even in her paralyzed state. Her upper body was strong, her silver hair shining faintly in the dim light, but from the waist down she could not move. Debris trapped her legs under a collapsed building and her face was pale with pain. Around her, dozens of alien soldiers glanced nervously, but no one stepped forward to help. They whispered to each other, "It's too dangerous. Leave her. She's lost." From a side street, a small human figure appeared. Dr. Ryan, a human medic, moved carefully through the rubble, his eyes scanning for survivors. He had heard about the alien conflict and had volunteered to help, though he knew the risk. In his hand, he carried a small medbot, blinking softly with blue lights. It was compact but strong, capable of lifting debris and giving basic medical aid. Ryan slowed as he saw the queen. She lay trapped, her breathing shallow. Her eyes, glowing faintly green, turned toward him. There was no anger or pride in them, only a silent, desperate plea. Something inside Ryan stirred. He had faced danger before, treated humans in war zones, but this was different. This was an alien queen, and everyone else had refused to help her. Nearby, a group of alien medics watched Ryan carefully. One of them laughed quietly. "Human, you want to help her? She is paralyzed, almost dead. Don't waste your time." Another muttered, "She is the queen, yes, but her council abandoned her. Even her soldiers do not care." Ryan ignored them. He knelt a few meters away and activated his medbot. The medbot hummed softly as it extended its mechanical arms. Ryan carefully directed it to lift the debris. The queen winced, a faint hiss escaping her lips. "Do not be afraid," Ryan said softly. "I am here to help." He spoke slowly, clearly, trying to calm her. Her eyes flickered with something like hope, but fear still lingered. Suddenly, a nearby tower shook violently. Dust fell around them and more rubble slid toward the queen. Ryan's heart raced, but he stayed focused. With quick, careful movements, he adjusted the medbot. Its strong arms lifted the heaviest piece of debris, while Ryan pulled smaller pieces away with his hands. Sparks flew from broken machinery and the air smelled of smoke and metal. The alien soldiers stepped back, whispering nervously. "No human has dared to approach her before," one said. "Is he as brave or foolish?" Ryan did not answer. He only focused on the queen, who now looked at him with wide eyes. "Thank you." "Human," she whispered, her voice weak but clear. Ryan nodded, giving her a small, reassuring smile. As he worked, he noticed movement in the shadows. Enemy drones flew overhead, scanning the area for survivors. Their glowing red eyes swept across the streets, stopping for a moment near the queen. Ryan's mind raced. If the drones discovered them, the queen might be lost forever. He signaled the medbot to create a small protective shield, a barrier of energy that could absorb minor attacks. It flickered, but it held. Minutes felt like hours. Dust choked the air and the ground trembled with every distant explosion. Ryan's arms ached, but he did not stop. Slowly, carefully, he managed to free the queen's legs. She gasped as she moved slightly for the first time in hours. Relief washed over Ryan. He helped her sit up, supporting her upper body. The medbot scanned her, confirming that she was stable. The queen looked at him, a mixture of awe and gratitude in her glowing eyes. No one else tried," she said softly. Ryan shook his head. "I do not think like that," he replied simply. "I see someone in danger, I try to help." Her eyes softened, and for a brief moment the chaos around them faded. But the danger was not over. The drones continued to hover nearby, and the enemy soldiers were regrouping. Ryan knew they had only bought a little time. Still, he would not leave her. He had made a choice, and he would face whatever came next to protect the alien queen. As the medbot prepared to guide them through the city, Ryan glanced back at the destruction. Smoke and fire filled the horizon, but he held his head high. This was just the beginning of an adventure, one that would test courage, loyalty, and the limits of trust between a human and an alien queen. The screen of the viewer's imagination lingered on the queen's eyes, and Ryan's determined expression. The city was in chaos, the enemy closing in, and yet a human had dared where all others failed. The question hung in the air. Could Dr. Ryan save her completely? Or would the dangers of the war-torn city claim them both? And with that thought, the story moved forward, the suspense only growing, drawing the audience deeper into the fate of the paraplegic alien queen and the human who refused to leave her behind. The streets of the alien city were dark and broken. Fires burned in patches and smoke twisted in the wind like restless ghosts. Debris lay scattered everywhere, creating obstacles that could trap even the strongest alien soldiers. Dr. Ryan moved carefully, supporting the alien queen on a lightweight hover stretcher that his medbot controlled. Her eyes darted around, alert and fearful, yet trusting him completely. "We have to move quickly," Ryan said, keeping his voice calm. "There's more danger ahead." The queen nodded, her hands trembling slightly as she held onto the stretcher. She had never seen a human like Ryan, someone willing to risk so much for her, a queen of another species. Her mind raced with gratitude and disbelief. "I never imagined," she whispered, "that a human would help me when my own kind abandoned me." Ryan did not answer with words. He simply adjusted the medbot's controls, steering it over cracked streets and broken pipes. Sparks flew from damaged buildings as small fires flared. Every step forward was a test. One false move and the queen could fall, or worse, they could trigger a collapse in the unstable ruins around them. Suddenly, a distant roar echoed through the city. Ryan froze for a moment, listening. From the shadow of a collapsed tower, a large alien war machine appeared. Its metal limbs creaked, glowing red sensors scanning the area. The queen gasped, frozen in fear. "That thing will kill us," she said. Ryan took a deep breath. "Stay calm. We can get past it." He quickly scanned the area for cover, spotting an old maintenance tunnel partially hidden under rubble. But to reach it, they would have to cross an open street right under the war machine's sensors. The medbot beeped urgently, sensing the danger. Ryan activated a small holographic decoy, a shimmering image of himself moving across the street, drawing the war machine's attention. It hesitated, tracking the decoy with glowing red eyes. "Go, now," Ryan whispered to the queen. The medbot hovered smoothly, carrying her across the open street while the decoy flickered and moved like a real person. Sparks flew from the war machine as it recalibrated, its heavy legs smashing the ground. Dust and smoke swirled around them, adding to the tension. Halfway across, a section of the street gave way, revealing a deep fissure in the concrete. The medbot shook violently and the queen's eyes widened in terror. Ryan acted quickly, sending a magnetic stabilizer to latch onto a nearby pipe. The medbot's hover system adjusted, steadying their movement just in time. The fissure passed beneath them and Ryan exhaled slowly. The queen clutched his arm with a mix of fear and admiration. They reached the tunnel entrance. Ryan checked the surroundings and nodded. "We're safe. For now." The queen sat up slightly, taking in her first moment of relief since the attack began. I owe you my life," she said softly. Ryan shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. I helped those in danger, that's all." Inside the tunnel, the air was cooler but still smelled of smoke and burnt metal. Rusty pipes lined the walls and water dripped from the ceiling. Shadows danced as Ryan led the queen carefully through the narrow passages. The sound of distant alarms faded, but they were not completely safe. Enemy patrols could find them at any moment. As they moved deeper, Ryan noticed something strange. Old alien technology, long forgotten, lined the tunnel walls. Strange glowing devices, panels covered in dust. He tapped a button on his medbot, and the nearest panel flickered to life. It seemed abandoned but functional. The queen's eyes widened. "This is ancient tech. It could help us." Ryan studied the controls. Small but powerful energy shields could be activated, enough to block minor attacks or trap enemies temporarily. He smiled slightly. "This might give us an advantage," he said. The queen leaned closer, curiosity shining through her fear. But just as they began to plan, a low hum filled the tunnel. Ryan's medbot beeped urgently. Sensors detected movement above. Enemy drones patrolling the streets overhead. Their red lights flickered, scanning for survivors. Ryan's heart raced. He whispered, "We have to move silently. One mistake and they'll find us." Carefully, he guided the queen through a side passage. They crawled under fallen beams and jumped over small chasms in the tunnel floor. The Queen's trust in Ryan grew with every step. She realized this human was different from anyone she had known, smart, brave, and determined. As they reached a deeper section of the tunnel, Ryan paused. He looked back at the path they had taken, smoke rising above the city like ghostly fingers. "We're not safe yet," he said, "but we've made it farther than anyone thought possible." The Queen nodded, her eyes reflecting both fear and hope. Outside, the city continued to burn, chaos reigning over every street. Inside the tunnel, a human and an alien queen pressed forward together, relying on courage, trust, and quick thinking. The dangers were not over, but for the first time, the Queen felt a spark of hope, and the audience was left wondering, would Ryan be able to save her completely, or would the city's destruction claim them both? The deeper Ryan and the alien queen moved into the hidden tunnels, the calmer the chaos above seemed. Yet the echoes of the city's destruction followed them like a shadow, reminding them that danger was never far away. The Queen, still on the hover stretcher controlled by Ryan's medbot, looked around at the tunnel walls lined with ancient alien technology. Small green lights flickered, casting eerie shadows across their faces. "This place. It's strange," she whispered. "I've never been here before." Her voice carried both curiosity and fear. Her glowing green eyes met Ryan's, searching for reassurance. Ryan adjusted the medbot, slowing its movement to keep her steady. "It's safe for now, but we have to stay alert," he said simply. He had learned long ago that words could calm more than action alone. The Queen relaxed slightly, trusting the calmness in his tone. As they moved, Ryan noticed signs of other survivors. Footprints in the dust, discarded tools, and broken crates hinted that alien civilians had sought refuge here. "There are people hiding nearby," Ryan said softly. "If we can find them, maybe we can help." The Queen looked surprised. You care about them too?" she asked. She had spent much of her life surrounded by power and politics, where survival often meant leaving others behind. She wasn't used to seeing such compassion from a human or any being. Ryan shrugged lightly. "I help those in danger. It doesn't matter who they are." The Queen's eyes softened. She had expected fear, betrayal, and self-interest from everyone. But this human, this fragile creature in an alien world, was different. They reached a chamber where a group of aliens had taken refuge. Some were injured, some were exhausted, and all were terrified. The Queen gasped quietly. "My people," she said, a tremor in her voice. She had never imagined seeing her citizens like this, helpless, scared, abandoned. Ryan acted quickly. He instructed his medbot to distribute supplies, scan for injuries, and create small protective barriers around the group. With careful precision, he treated minor wounds and reassured those too frightened to move. His hands worked swiftly, showing skill and empathy. The Queen watched in awe. I never expected this," she admitted softly. No one has ever shown such care before." She looked at Ryan with gratitude, but also a hint of something deeper, a respect that had been missing from her life for years. Suddenly, a faint clanging noise echoed from the tunnel entrance. Ryan froze, listening. The Queen tensed beside him. "Someone's coming," she whispered. The group of hidden civilians shrank back, fear in their eyes. Ryan scanned the tunnels with the medbot's sensors. Enemy patrols, likely scouts sent to hunt survivors, were approaching. Ryan's mind raced. They were vulnerable, but he refused to panic. He whispered instructions to the Queen. "We stay calm. The medbot will protect us. We'll make it through this." She nodded, her body shaking slightly as she gripped the sides of the stretcher. The patrols entered the chamber. Alien soldiers, armed and intimidating, moved with precision. The hidden group froze, expecting capture or worse. But Ryan acted quickly. Using the medbot's energy shields, he created barriers that blocked the soldiers' line of sight and slowed their advance. The Queen's eyes widened. How are you doing this?" she asked in disbelief. Ryan smiled faintly. "Thinking fast and staying calm," he said. "Sometimes brains are stronger than weapons." He maneuvered the medbot cleverly, using the tunnel layout to confuse the soldiers, leading them in circles while protecting the Queen and the civilians. Sparks flew as some alien equipment misfired, adding to the chaos and giving them an advantage. After tense minutes that felt like hours, the patrols gave up and retreated, unsure of the obstacles and traps. Silence returned to the tunnel, broken only by the hum of the medbot and the shallow breathing of those hiding. The Queen looked at Ryan, her expression a mix of relief and amazement. "You saved them," she whispered. "All of them." Ryan shook his head. "I just did what anyone should do. No one deserves to be left behind." His words were simple, but they carried weight. The Queen's heart warmed. She realized something important. She could trust him, not just with her life, but with her people. As the group settled, Ryan found a quiet corner with the Queen. "You've seen enough destruction for one day," he said softly. "Rest if you can." She hesitated, then nodded. Her glowing green eyes softened. For the first time in a long while, she allowed herself to relax slightly, feeling the human's steady presence beside her. In that moment, a bond began to form. It wasn't friendship yet, not fully, but trust. And in a war-torn world where betrayal was common, trust was rare. The Queen realized that with Ryan by her side, there might be hope for her and her people, yet the city above continued to burn. The enemy was still out there, and the path ahead was uncertain. The Queen's gratitude for the human medic mixed with fear for the dangers to come. Ryan adjusted the medbot and smiled faintly at her. "We keep moving," he said. "We'll face whatever comes together." The Queen's eyes shone with determination and newfound hope. For the first time in days, she believed that someone, not of her kind, truly cared about her life. And the audience, caught in the tension and quiet emotion, wondered, could this human truly be the key to saving her and her people from the city's chaos? Ryan and the alien Queen moved cautiously through the winding tunnels. The city above continued to burn, fires casting flickering shadows through cracks in the walls. Each step was careful. The medbot hovered slightly above the ground, carrying the Queen safely, scanning for threats. Despite the chaos, Ryan remained calm, his eyes constantly assessing the environment. "We can't stay in one place too long," Ryan said softly. "The enemy patrols will come back." The Queen nodded, gripping the sides of the hover stretcher. Her body was weak from paralysis and fear, but her mind was sharp. She had never encountered a human like Ryan before, a creature so small and fragile in appearance, yet fearless and determined. As they turned a corner, Ryan noticed movement ahead. Small figures crouched behind broken crates and rubble. The Queen's eyes widened. "Civilians," she whispered. These were her people, frightened and alone, hiding from the war that had torn their city apart. Many of them were injured, others weak from hunger and exhaustion. Ryan lowered his voice. "We'll help them. Stay behind me." His medbot extended its arms, scanning the group for injuries and obstacles. The Queen watched in awe as he quickly assessed the situation, assigning tasks to the medbot, lifting debris, providing basic medical care, and creating energy shields to protect the civilians. "Human, why do you care so much?" the Queen asked quietly, her voice carrying curiosity and disbelief. Ryan looked at her calmly. "Because someone has to. No one deserves to be left behind." Her glowing green eyes softened. She realized that she had expected betrayal and indifference from everyone, and yet, here was this human, risking his life for her and her people. Just as they were settling the group, a low rumble echoed from the tunnels above. Ryan stiffened. "Enemy patrols," he whispered. The civilians froze, fear spreading like wildfire. Ryan activated the medbot's energy shields, forming a protective barrier around the group. Sparks of light flickered across the walls, casting eerie shadows. From the darkness, enemy soldiers emerged, scanning for survivors. They were heavily armed and moved with precision, expecting easy targets. Ryan's heart raced, but he did not panic. He whispered to the Queen, "Stay calm and trust the medbot." The patrol moved closer. Ryan guided the medbot, using its advanced sensors to block their line of sight. He created small decoy holograms, confusing the soldiers and drawing their attention away from the civilians. The Queen watched silently, impressed by his strategic thinking. One soldier advanced too close. Ryan quickly extended the medbot's arm, pushing the soldier back with a controlled force. Sparks flew as the soldier's armor clashed with the energy shield. The rest of the patrol hesitated, unsure of the strange technology they were facing. "This human," the Queen murmured. "He is remarkable." Ryan smiled faintly but focused on the task at hand. Using the narrow tunnels to their advantage, he led the civilians deeper into safety. The patrol, frustrated and confused, eventually retreated, leaving the group unharmed. The Queen's eyes filled with relief. "You..." Save them all, she whispered. Ryan shook his head. We saved them together. He gestured to the Queen. Your courage helps too. For the first time, the Queen felt something she had not in a long time: hope. She saw that the humans were not just outsiders. They could be allies, and perhaps with trust and collaboration, they could rebuild what was lost. As they moved further into the tunnel, Ryan noticed a side passage that seemed more secure. There might be more people hiding here, he said. They followed it and found a small group of alien engineers. They had been trapped when the city's defenses collapsed and were now hiding from enemy patrols. The Queen stepped forward. They are my people, she said firmly. Her voice carried authority but also a hint of humility. We must help them. Ryan nodded. Then we do it together. The medbot distributed supplies and Ryan tended to injuries. The engineers looked at him with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. One older engineer finally spoke. You are human? Yes, Ryan replied simply. But right now I am here to help your Queen and your people. A silence followed. Then slowly the engineers began to trust him. They offered to guide Ryan and the Queen through hidden passages, providing knowledge of secret tunnels and escape routes. The alliance was unexpected but necessary. For the first time in days, the Queen saw a chance to unite her scattered people with the help of this human medic. But the city above was still dangerous. Fires raged and enemy patrols were relentless. Ryan and the Queen knew that their safety, and the safety of the civilians, depended on quick thinking, courage, and trust. As they prepared to move, the Queen turned to Ryan. I did not expect this. An alliance with a human, she said softly. But I see now. Your bravery brings hope. Ryan simply nodded. Hope is worth protecting, always. The medbot activated, ready to guide the group through the hidden tunnels. The Queen sat upright on the hover stretcher, her glowing eyes shining with determination. She had begun to trust Ryan completely, and together, they moved forward, deeper into the shadows of the city, ready to face whatever dangers awaited. The audience was left with a tense question. Could this unexpected alliance survive the dangers ahead? Or would the enemy crush them before they could escape? The tunnels were silent except for the soft hum of Ryan's medbot and the occasional drip of water from broken pipes. The alien Queen sat upright, her glowing green eyes fixed on the shadows ahead. She had begun to trust Ryan completely, believing that he would protect her and her people no matter what. Ryan guided the group carefully, using the engineer's knowledge of hidden passages to avoid enemy patrols. The civilians moved cautiously, their fear slowly giving way to cautious hope. For a brief moment it seemed as though safety had returned, but the calm was deceptive. As they turned a corner, one of the engineers, a man named Kalen, paused. His eyes darted nervously down a narrow side tunnel. There's a shortcut through here, he said. It's faster, but it's risky. Ryan glanced at the Queen. Do you trust him? He asked. The Queen hesitated. Kalen had offered guidance before and seemed sincere, but something in Ryan's instincts told him to be careful. We have no choice, she said softly. We must take the risk if we want to survive. They followed Kalen into the tunnel. At first it seemed safe, the walls narrow but stable. Ryan led the Queen and the civilians carefully, the medbot hovering above the uneven floor. But as they progressed, Ryan noticed subtle signs: loose stones, strange scratches on the walls, and faint tracks behind them that didn't belong to their group. He whispered to the Queen, "Stay alert. Something feels wrong." Before anyone could react, Kalen stepped aside suddenly, and a hidden mechanism clicked. The walls shifted, revealing a trap. A heavy metal gate slammed down behind them, trapping the group inside the tunnel. The Queen gasped, her glowing eyes wide with fear. You betrayed us, Ryan shouted, his voice filled with shock and anger. Kalen's face remained calm, almost cold. I'm sorry, but orders are orders, he said. From the shadows, armed alien soldiers emerged, their weapons pointed directly at the group. The Queen is to be captured, one of them said. Any human helping her is an enemy. Ryan's heart pounded, but he refused to panic. He activated the medbot's defensive shields, forming a barrier around the Queen and civilians. Sparks flew as the soldiers fired, but the shields held, buying precious seconds. The Queen's voice trembled. Why did Kalen? You were supposed to help us. Kalen's eyes showed no remorse. I serve the council, he said simply. Your life is less important than their orders. Ryan clenched his fists. We will not give up. Not now, not ever. His mind raced. The medbot had limited energy, but it could still help. He quickly activated an emergency protocol, releasing a burst of smoke and flashing lights. The soldiers hesitated, momentarily blinded. Move, Ryan shouted. He grabbed the queen, guiding her towards a narrow crevice that the soldiers could not reach. The civilians followed, ducking under the medbot's protective shield. Sparks and debris flew as Ryan led the group through the twisting passage. But Kalen was not done. He activated a signal, calling reinforcements from deeper within the tunnels. The queen looked at Ryan, fear and confusion in her eyes. We can't outrun them forever, she whispered. Ryan shook his head. We don't need to outrun them. We need to outsmart them. He quickly scanned the tunnels and spotted an unstable ceiling section. With a precise command, he directed the medbot to create vibrations strong enough to collapse part of the tunnel, blocking the soldiers' path. Dust and rubble rained down, and the enemy soldiers were forced to retreat temporarily. The queen's eyes filled with admiration. You risked everything for us, she said softly. Even when betrayed. Ryan glanced at her, his expression serious. Trust is fragile, he said. One betrayal can destroy everything. But courage can rebuild it. The group moved forward, their spirits shaken but not broken. The queen realized that in Ryan, she had found more than a protector. She had found a being whose loyalty could not be bought, whose courage could not be shaken by threats or orders. As they emerged into a slightly larger chamber, Ryan paused to catch his breath. We need to keep moving, he said. The enemy will regroup. Kalen's betrayal shows us that danger can come from anywhere, even those we trust. The queen looked at the human, her glowing green eyes steady and resolute. Then we face it together, she said. Her voice carried strength she had not known she possessed. Ryan nodded, feeling a surge of determination. He had faced countless challenges in his life, but nothing compared to protecting an alien queen in a city full of enemies and traitors. Every step forward would be a test of courage, trust, and strategy. The audience, caught in the suspense of betrayal, watched as the human and the alien queen moved forward together. Their bond was stronger for it, forged in the fire of danger and tested by treachery, and still the question lingered. Would they survive the traps and soldiers ahead, or would the betrayal cost them everything? The group moved carefully through the twisting tunnels, the air thick with dust and the faint smell of smoke from the burning city above. The alien queen sat upright on the hover stretcher, her glowing green eyes scanning every shadow. The betrayal of Kalen still weighed heavily on her mind, but Ryan's calm presence reassured her. He was focused, alert, and ready for whatever dangers lay ahead. Ryan had learned from the earlier encounters that the enemy would not give them a moment of peace. The Queen's people needed to be rescued, and their enemies were relentless. We're almost at the city center, Ryan said quietly, speaking more to himself than anyone else. That's where the rest of your civilians are being held. The Queen's eyes widened. The Council. They've imprisoned them? She whispered. They want to control everyone, Ryan nodded. Yes, and we have to get them out. No one else will do it for us. As they approached the central tower, a rumble echoed through the tunnels. The ceiling shook, dust falling like rain. Ryan signaled the group to stay low. The medbot hovered protectively over the Queen, scanning for danger. From above, the sounds of enemy soldiers echoed. Footsteps, metallic clangs, and the faint whirring of drones. Suddenly, a squad of alien guards appeared at the tunnel exit, their weapons raised and glowing with deadly energy. Ryan's heart raced. He activated the medbot's shields, forming a protective barrier around the Queen and the civilians. Sparks flew as the first volley of energy blasts hit the shields, causing the medbot to shudder but hold firm. Ryan's mind raced. There was no time for hesitation. He scanned the area and spotted a series of overhead catwalks. "Follow me," he shouted. Using a small grappling device, he anchored the medbot to the tunnel walls and lifted the Queen above the guard's reach. The civilians followed, clinging to each other as they climbed. The guards were momentarily confused, giving Ryan the advantage. He moved quickly, using the narrow passages to his benefit. Energy blasts ricocheted off walls, but the group remained protected. The Queen watched him with awe. "You're incredible," she whispered. "How do you think this fast?" Ryan didn't answer. His focus was total. Every move counted. Using the engineer's knowledge, he led the group into a maintenance shaft that bypassed the main entrance. But as they emerged near the city center, the real challenge began. The central plaza was filled with soldiers. They were armed with advanced weaponry and surrounded the imprisoned civilians. Ryan's eyes narrowed. He activated the Medbot's final mode, a combination of energy shields and deployable traps. Small holographic decoys sprang up, confusing the enemy. The Queen watched as Ryan moved like a general, directing the Medbot with precision. A massive alien officer appeared, taller and stronger than any Ryan had faced. The officer's armor glowed ominously and his eyes locked onto the Queen. "She is mine," he shouted. Charging forward with terrifying speed, Ryan held his ground. Using the Medbot, he created a series of barriers, slowing the officer's advance. Sparks flew as the officer's energy weapon clashed with the shield. Ryan's strategy relied not on strength, but on intelligence and timing. He dodged, pivoted, and used the terrain to his advantage, leading the officer into a narrow alley where the Medbot could trap him temporarily. Meanwhile, the Queen began to understand her own courage. Inspired by Ryan, she called to the civilians, encouraging them to move and helping them escape. "Follow me! You are free," she shouted, her voice carrying authority and hope. The battle was intense. Energy blasts flew, debris fell, and the air was thick with tension. Ryan continued to protect the Queen and civilians, using quick thinking to outmaneuver the soldiers. Slowly, the enemy began to retreat, overwhelmed by Ryan's tactics and the unexpected courage of the Queen and her people. Finally, the plaza fell silent, broken only by the hum of Ryan's Medbot and the heavy breathing of the survivors. The civilians were free and the Queen stood tall, glowing eyes shining with pride and relief. She looked at Ryan, her expression full of gratitude. You saved them all?" she said softly. Ryan shook his head, humble. "We did it together. Your courage made this possible." For the first time in days, the Queen felt a true sense of hope. Her people were safe, and the city's despair seemed to lift, if only slightly. Ryan had risked everything, and she knew she could trust him completely. But even in victory, Ryan stayed alert. He knew that danger was never far in a city torn by war. He glanced at the horizon, where smoke still rose from burning buildings. "This is not the end," he said quietly. "But today we've won." The Queen stepped closer to him, her glowing eyes meeting his. "I will never forget this. Your bravery, your loyalty." Ryan smiled faintly. "I don't expect you to. Just keep protecting your people. That's reward enough." The Medbot hovered between them, a silent witness to the bond that had formed. The audience could feel the tension, relief, and admiration, all at once. The human had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious, earning not only the Queen's trust, but the respect of an entire alien civilization. As they prepared to move the civilians to safety, a distant signal flickered on the horizon. Another threat, perhaps, but one they would face together. For now, the city center was secure, and the human and the alien Queen stood side by side, ready for whatever came next. The suspense remained, and the audience was left eager for the next part. How would the Queen reward the human who risked everything to save her? The sun was beginning to rise over the ruins of the alien city, casting soft orange and pink light across the broken towers. Smoke still lingered, curling into the sky like restless ghosts, but for the first time in days, a sense of calm settled over the streets. The civilians were safe, guided by the Queen and her newly formed alliance with Ryan, the human medic. The Queen stood tall, her upper body proud and regal, while her paralyzed lower body rested comfortably on a reinforced hover chair. Her glowing green eyes scanned the city she had fought to save, now aware of the fragile hope that had returned. Around her, her people moved cautiously but with renewed purpose, clearing rubble and assisting one another. Ryan hovered nearby with his Medbot, checking the civilians for injuries and offering reassurance. The Medbot's sensors still detected danger, but Ryan felt a rare moment of relief. He had faced countless challenges, but nothing compared to protecting a queen and leading her people to safety in a world that seemed determined to destroy them. The Queen turned to Ryan, her expression solemn but warm. "You have done more than any human or alien has ever done for me," she said softly. "Everyone else abandoned me. Everyone refused to act, but you risked your life for me and my people. Ryan shook his head humbly. I did what anyone should do. I helped those in danger. That's all. She studied him carefully. There was something about his courage, his calmness under fire, that inspired not only trust but admiration. Courage like yours. Loyalty like yours. It must be honored, she said, her voice carrying authority. The Queen called her people to gather in the central plaza. One by one the civilians stepped forward, their eyes filled with gratitude and relief. The Queen addressed them with a voice that was strong yet filled with emotion. Today we are alive because of this human, she said, pointing to Ryan. He risked everything to save us. Let it be known that our gratitude is eternal. The civilians murmured among themselves, some bowing, some raising their hands in salute. Ryan felt embarrassed by the attention, but the Queen was not finished. She stepped closer, lowering her glowing eyes to meet his. I wish to offer you a reward, she said softly. Ryan shook his head quickly. I don't need a reward. Seeing your people safe is enough for me. The Queen smiled faintly, understanding his humility, but she persisted. Your bravery has proven that humanity has something valuable, something beyond strength or technology. You have shown wisdom, compassion, and courage, and for that I must honor you in a way that befits your deeds. She gestured to her council, some of the remaining trusted advisors who had survived the chaos. They brought forth a small device, a glowing medallion, shaped in the symbol of the Queen's house. This is our highest honor, the Queen explained. It represents trust, courage, and the promise that you are always welcome here. Wear it, and you are a friend of our people forever. Ryan accepted the medallion, humbled by the gesture. He had never sought recognition or praise, but the warmth in the Queen's eyes and the respect of her people made him feel a deep sense of accomplishment. He glanced at the civilians, seeing their smiles and hearing their quiet words of thanks, and felt a connection stronger than any medal or reward could convey. For the first time, the Queen allowed herself a small moment of vulnerability. You have risked everything for someone who was paralyzed and abandoned. That is not an easy choice. It is rare even among the strongest of beings, she said, her voice softening. I will never forget your courage. Ryan smiled faintly. I do not expect you to. Just keep protecting your people. That is reward enough. The Queen nodded, understanding the depth of his words. She realized that bravery did not require titles or honors. It required action, trust, and selflessness. Ryan had demonstrated all of these, and in doing so, he had earned not only her respect, but a permanent place in the history of her people. As the sun rose higher, casting light over the rebuilding city, Ryan and the Queen walked together through the streets. Civilians cleared debris, helped each other, and began to restore life to their shattered home. The Queen felt hope rising inside her, a hope she had thought lost forever. She had survived betrayal, danger, and war, but she had found something far more valuable, a human she could trust, a friend, and an ally who had proven that courage and loyalty could bridge even the deepest divides between species. Ryan looked at her, his calm presence steady and reassuring. The danger is not over, he said softly. There will always be challenges, but today we've made a difference. That's what matters. The Queen's eyes softened, glowing faintly in the morning light. Yes.
And together, we will face whatever comes next. The camera of the audience's imagination lingered on this moment, a human and a paralyzed alien queen,
standing side by side, united by trust, courage, and respect. The city around them may have been broken, but hope had returned. And as the screen faded, the audience was left with a final thought. True heroism does not come from strength alone, but from courage, loyalty, and the willingness to act when others refuse. The story of Ryan and the alien queen had reached its conclusion, for now, but the bond they had forged would last far beyond the fires of a single city. The audience could feel the satisfaction of a journey completed, the excitement of survival, and the warmth of respect earned in the crucible of chaos.